For my first video, I'm going to provide a tutorial for making female characters. My credentials are that I was female for 15 years, before I stopped 7 years ago, so you don't have to. Some of this advice is gender neutral, and the order isn't mandatory, but okay, let's go! The universe doesn't just spit out fully formed ladies, they've got history. Use it to determine what kind of person she is. Like, did she grow up on a farm? She'd probably have muscles, a tan, and a high tolerance for gross stuff. Well, if she lives in an urban area, then she's a risk taker, walks around a lot if she's able, and is very to the point in conversations. And also a high tolerance for gross stuff. Would it be cool if she's a descendant of royalty? No. A princess is just a girl who has important ancestry, which says nothing of her own merits. Nepotism shouldn't be used to make your character special. And more often than not, the word is used without any consideration for its meaning. Mulan wasn't born into royalty, and she married a general, still a princess. Twilight Sparkle has no land nor subjects to inherit. Princess. In fact, the other princesses should be queens, but Hasbro said they gotta be princesses. Even new original stories have princesses, and worst of all, tend to have the rebel princess. She rejects the idea that princesses have to be submissive, but doesn't do much else. Which doesn't have that much impact today. Yes, girls can make decisions. We're past the 1940s, so that's fairly accepted. Fairly. How about a girl who's bigger than a size 3, or is that too unheard of? Now, before I really get into the topic, it's time to segue into how to design her appearance. Make a character, and have them identify as female. Done. Too many girl designs are cookie-cutter compared to guys. Viewing them as genderless first helps you avoid the many overused tropes aimed at women. Plus, the forced homogeneity of female designs is how you get stuff like this. Also, the term forced homogeneity should be used more. I won't go into details about drawing female anatomy, but I might in another video because cis men need so much help. I'll talk about sexualization then too, because I really don't want to get into that now. So how about we focus on general design choices? For instance, we need more rowdy girls. Most female characters are just innocent child, hot lady that does a cool thing once or twice, and the thing that isn't attractive, though she's a joke or a monster. How about a real brute of a gal, or a sleazy rogue? You can't say that beauty shouldn't be the most valuable part of a girl when you give every important girl prettier than average looks. The average woman has lumpy bits and body hair and more lumpy bits. Celebrate that. Alright, we got a girl. What do we do with her? Make her the sidekick to a less competent man? Have her be the main dude's love interest? Kill her off when you run out of ideas? No, let her do stuff. Let girls fail and have flaws because when you don't, it feels condescending at best, and at worst puts women on a pedestal that can never be realistically obtained, so everyone who can't reach it has to wonder what they're doing wrong. Okay, you know those stories with a competent lady and in every man that's the chosen one even though the lady clearly deserves it? It's tempting to say that the lady is strong and the guy is weak, so feminist, but the guy is the protagonist. The audience is supposed to relate to him and see him overcome his struggles, while the girl is just there. We don't get to empathize with her because girl characters are othered. They're messiahs without problems or flaws. They're monsters, they're props, but they aren't people. To quote Margaret Atwood, up on a pedestal or down on your knees, it's all male fantasy, that you're strong enough to take what they dish out, or else too weak to do anything about it. To combat this, you need to understand different women who go outside these restrictions, and different women have different needs. Most of the cliches brought up apply to white women, but women of color are often denied womanhood in the first place, and thus have different but still harmful cliches they have to deal with. There's a reason the examples for those affected by forced homogeneity were women of color. Feminism that downplays racism hurts women, and there are even more types of women out there. So do your research by finding books and blogs discussing intersectional feminism. You also need to read and support stories with female perspectives. Male protagonists are seen as the default for everyone, and media will always, whether they want to or not, encourage you to empathize with the main character, so all genders will be taught to care about male issues. But with girl protagonists being a rarity, or done awkwardly, or always marketed to other girls only, there's less expectations to empathize with women. Even stories with nothing but female characters can have male fans take over everything to make it about them. And there needs to be more empathy for women. Remember everything that happened to Kelly Marie Tran, Anita Sarkeesian, Brie Larson, and others, so many others. Now the question, is this feminist, isn't a good one to ask, especially nowadays where there's a misogynist outcry over every little thing. See the last paragraph. So the bar is pretty low. Feminism is wanting women to have equal agency as men, but fictional characters can never have agency when their creator decides everything they do. You can have a female character choose to wear nothing but lingerie, but she didn't really choose. Her artist did. So it's really hard to argue if sexy ladies are empowering. Can we first agree that clothes in of themselves don't mean anything? Let them wear whatever so long as it isn't racist. And outfits are less important than framing. A character can be more sexualized fully clothed than naked depending on how it's presented, because how the camera presents things is important, especially in the next part. This advice can apply to main or side characters, since having ideas of why side characters are the way they are establishes the world and gives the protagonist someone to bounce off of. But for female protagonists, it can feel as though she's the one everyone else bounces off of. While it's good to show how everyone views her to tell us about her, we also need proof of why she's viewed that way and why this view matters. If person B says person A is full of herself, but we never see A be an a-hole, we know B is lying and might be the a-hole. Okay, if that's all we get from either of them, then B is more developed as a character than A, which is really bad if A is a main character and we never see B again. The main reasons protagonists are often so flat is also what we tend to like about them, but only when done right. We like relatable characters and aspirational ones, but if the writers are afraid that giving them traits, motives, or even emotions will detract from these two things, that's how cardboard protagonists occur. If the protagonist has a want more specific than adventure, then they might be selfish, and then they aren't perfect paragon. But without a strong want, plot won't happen. We need to have another character be selfish, usually a man, and often her love interest, to make the plot happen. The protagonists sometimes can't even have thoughts because they might realize something that might give them a selfish reason for their actions, which means none of her actions can have common sense behind them for more alienating. And because she doesn't want anything, she doesn't really do anything either, even though actions help convey character. Does she solve problems violently, after careful consideration, directly? How does she feel about what she does and what happens to her? If these lack of desires are consistently the case with the protagonist, then she's not really the point of view character. It's everyone else that's reacting to her. What rebel princesses and similar heroines really rebel against is any femininity that has been deemed vapid. Now, in the words of the straight people, not that there's anything wrong with that, because yeah, most women are a mix of embracing and rejecting the expectations of their gender. It's just that, one, it's everywhere to the point of seeing a character who is more masculine or androgynous than feminine in mainstream media without being a joke is rare. And two, it seems like this is only done to be seen as feminist to appeal to a female audience without actually engaging in feminist theory. The reason why mainstream works don't want to do that is because a lot of the current goals of feminism are harder to market. If she strays too much from Eurocentric beauty standards, how are we going to poison her self-esteem to make her buy things to fill the void? Feminism is accepting and amplifying the voices of marginalized religions, ethnic groups, as well as marginalized orientations and gender alignments, and that might alienate conservative Americans. I mean, the Chinese market. Blame that foreign country, not us. We're the land of the great. And to top it all off, feminism is now anti-capitalism, since no one deserves to live in poverty. So how are we going to sell you things? Oh no! The profitable female character is girly, but not like vapid or anything, because she's not like those girls, the ones who care about their appearance because they aren't blessed with natural beauty like our heroine. Her beauty is so mighty, she doesn't even get dirty when she fights, because that would detract from the beauty. And she totally fights. That's empowering, whatever that means anymore. And her battle tactics don't involve physical strength, but tricks and sexy acrobatics. We're gonna say this to show that brute strength isn't everything, but it's just because we don't want to make her buff. That might intimidate men. Did we mention she's pretty? Please, the only thing that matters is that she's pretty. For as we all know, what else is there? So what did we learn? More female relationships that don't exist for the male gaze. The Bechdel test was designed with lesbians in mind, you know. But seriously, most stories are about female-male relationships. or more precisely, a man reacting to the strange creature colloquially referred to as a female. Even platonically, having female characters interact makes them more fleshed out, which is good. Do that. Best of luck with your writing. Alrighty then, first video done. Like, comment, and subscribe with the bell if you want to see more. Or don't. I don't have any patrons, but March 30th is my birthday if you want to send me a Ko-fi. Alright, have a good day. See ya.